Good morning, everyone. This is Todd Brow with Senior Insurance Marketing, and we are excited to have Jim Codney with us with Cigna to talk about the cancer, heart attack, and stroke product, all-in-one product for the cancer, heart attack, and stroke. And you know, kind of ask yourself, and I ask myself as well too. How many people that you know that have had a heart attack, have had cancer, or have had a stroke? I can list quite a few, unfortunately, both of my fingers, and maybe more as well too. So, um, without further ado, I'm going to swing it over to Jim. Everyone's going to be muted, so if you do have any questions during the presentation, feel free to put it in the chat box there, and we will be happy to answer your questions on that. So, without further ado, I'm going to just swing it over to Jim, and Jim, take it away.
Thank you, Todd. Good morning, everybody. As Todd said, my name is Jim Codney. I'm one of the regional vice presidents here at Cigna. Today we're going to talk about Flexible Choice, which is our lump sum cancer, heart attack, and stroke product. And we're going to take some time also to talk about phone sales with it. Obviously, we're living in unprecedented times, and for some of us, or many of us, the way of doing business has changed, at least temporarily, if not permanently. So with that, I'm here for you. So like Todd said, if you do have questions, please type them in the question box. I'll do my best to answer those. I will probably do that near the end of the presentation. So let's talk about the portfolio of products we offer here at Cigna Supplemental Benefits. We like to think we offer a pretty robust portfolio. We offer Medicare Supplement. We just launched yesterday a brand new charter for the first time in Indiana, Cigna National. So you'll see that coming slowly but surely throughout the country. We offer a hospital indemnity for people 50 to 85 in most states. The cancer, heart attack, and stroke is what we're going to talk about today. And then we also offer a cancer treatment product, an accident treatment product, and a final expense product. So again, a pretty robust suite of products for you to work with your clients. When you're sitting down with them, you can talk about all these with one company, which makes that sales presentation a lot easier in many cases. So let's talk a little bit about need, right? So as I've been talking to agents over the last several years, as I do presentations like this, a lot of agents who don't sell supplemental insurance now, other than like most of my agents are Med Supp agents. I run into a lot of Medicare Advantage agents, and they have trouble finding the need. Like, hey, I'm doing good at this. Why would I even sell a cancer, heart attack, and stroke product? So we just wanted to put some stats. I'm not going to beat you up with stats throughout the whole presentation, but I think there's some that you really need to know if you're wondering what the opportunity is. If you look in the bottom left in that blue circle, in the U.S., men have a 40% chance of developing cancer in their lifetime, and women a 38% chance. So right there tells you almost half of men and almost half of women in their lifetime are going to have cancer. And by the way, folks, those cancer stats are increasing. They are not currently decreasing. So unfortunately, the market's going to get even bigger over time unless something happens. Then you look at stats like 92 million Americans are living with some form of after effects of stroke right now. Almost 8 million Americans have suffered heart attacks. And by the way, if you didn't know, stroke is the leading cause of disability in the U.S. Unfortunately, I know several people have had strokes, and the after effects can be almost debilitating. But probably the scariest thing that I can tell you about on this screen is that middle top. It's in the U.S., the average person cannot afford $500 of unexpected costs. So if they can't afford $500, how are they going to afford what could be financial peril if God forbid they get diagnosed with cancer or have a heart attack or a stroke. You know, that's the opportunity we have to serve our clients and talk to them about other products available to help shield them from what could be financial peril from a diagnosis like this. Now, we have recently updated this product. We're really excited about what we've done. So on the underwriting side, we've actually reduced our look back period on this product for cancer and heart attack and stroke used to be 10 years. Now we've cut that look back period in half to 5 years. What that's going to do is give you a bigger share of the market, right? More clients fit in a 5-year underwriting look back than a 10-year. We've also added 4 really neat, good riders, which we'll talk about, but we've also kept the other riders that we had previously. So it's now, in my opinion, the most comprehensive lump sum cancer, heart attack, and stroke product on the market today. On top of that, you've got the Cigna name, which hopefully makes that sale easier, right? Because you don't have to sit and talk to your clients about who the company X is. And then things like phone sales capabilities. Every product we sell here at Cigna Supplemental Benefits is phone sales capable, and it's just super easy. So let's go over the product and the basics, and then we'll get a little more in depth. So the way this works for cancer and heart attack and stroke, they're separate buckets of money, and you can choose anywhere between $5,000 and $75,000 in coverage for each bucket of money for your customer. We don't charge an app fee, which just makes that easy, right? You don't have to explain what that $30 or $35 fee is to your clients. And in most states where this is available, it's available $18 to $99. For any of you who sell in California, it's $18 to $64. And then we'll talk about some of the rest of this stuff, but another thing I really like to point out is we do not ask tobacco question, not even on the cancer. We don't ask height and weight. We don't ask family history. There's a lot of companies out there that ask questions like that. We ask individual health questions in our underwriting. So I think it's very fair, and I really like the way we underwrite for this product. So here's how the policy works. You can sell it one of 3 ways. You can sell it cancer standalone, heart attack and stroke standalone, or cancer, heart attack, and stroke together. If you sell them together, all you do is you add one as the base policy and the other product as the rider. It does not matter which you add as which, meaning if you add cancer as the base, just add heart attack and stroke as the rider. If they want both, the underwriting and look back questions, the rates are exactly the same. If you add cancer, the heart attack and stroke as the base and cancer as the rider, it's exactly, again, the same underwriting rates. So you can't mess it up. Now, it is important to note that if you write them together, they are 2 separate buckets of money. So let's say your client has family history of cancer. So they need, in their mind, they want a little bit more insurance for cancer, but they still are at risk and they know they need heart attack and stroke coverage. So for instance, you could write them a $20,000 cancer and a $5,000 or $10,000 heart attack and stroke. That's totally fine. If they ever do, unfortunately, have to claim on one, it does not deplete the other because, again, they're separate buckets of money. On our cancer policy, I really like this because it's super, super easy. All you have to say is when your client picks a cancer benefit, Cigna will pay 100% of that benefit for any internal cancer. And I did say internal, so we do not cover topical skin cancer. However, if that ever did go invasive internal, which it can, it would be covered at 100%. Something else to note is a lot of carriers out there still cover carcinoma in situ at 25% of the selected benefit. Here at Cigna, we don't. So what carcinoma in situ is localized cancer. So you can give your customer the peace of mind if he or she goes to the doctor and unfortunately gets that what could be a life-altering diagnosis of internal cancer. Whatever the benefit they chose is what Cigna is going to pay them in one lump sum. And the great thing about this product is the benefits are always paid to the insured or their beneficiary if they pass. So they don't have to worry about what other insurance they have or if they don't have insurance. It doesn't matter what doctors they see, what hospitals they go to, etc. We pay the benefit to the customer every time. So it's really easy conversation to have. And on the heart attack and stroke part, it works similar, but I want to go through this because there are some differences that I need to point out. So if your client has a heart attack or is diagnosed with the need of a heart transplant, we pay immediately that lump sum benefit that they chose. If they have a stroke, they do have to have lingering effects for more than 30 days to receive the benefit. That's pretty common on policies like this, but I do want to make sure you're aware that on the stroke benefit, they have to have that lingering effect. As I told you when we started, roughly 9.1 million Americans are walking around with after effects of stroke. Is very common to have after effects of stroke, especially for at least 30 days, but just make sure your clients know that. One of the great things we do on the heart attack and stroke benefit is we accelerate for preventative procedures. So let's say your client goes into their cardiologist and they're told they need coronary artery bypass surgery and they have a $10,000 heart attack and stroke benefit with us. Well, all you would do is help them fill out the claims form, and then they would get $2,500 or 25% of that $10,000 benefit to help pay for copays and deductibles. And hopefully that's going to help eliminate the risk of heart attack, stroke, or need of a heart transplant. Right? Now, we will only accelerate once in a client's lifetime, but we'll even accelerate 10% for angioplasties and stents. So a really good thing that we do here to help your clients offset those copays and deductibles to get those preventative procedures. I know they are not minor procedures. My mother had a quadruple bypass with a heart valve repair a few years ago, and it was a very, very intensive procedure. So I never call them minor, I just call them preventative, but something that we do that I think is great to help your clients out with that stuff. Now, here's some of the riders we have and have had on this product. We have a reoccurrence rider for cancer and restoration rider for heart attack and stroke. Please don't get the differences in the names confused. Recurrence is cancer, restoration, heart attack, and stroke, but they work exactly the same way. Now, as I said when we started, this is a lump sum policy. However, if your client buys the reoccurrence and or restoration rider, what that does is if they've had a full payout, it gives them the ability to build that up again for what could be a second full 100% payout. So the way it works is, I'm going to use cancer, but it'd work the exact same way on heart attack and stroke. Your client has a $10,000 cancer benefit, and they get their reoccurrence rider, and they unfortunately get diagnosed with any internal cancer. Let's just say lung cancer, for example. So we pay out the benefit. We pay them that $10,000 check. Well, they get clear of treatment and diagnosis for 2 years. Now they've had 25% of that benefit build back up again. At 5 years, 75%. At 10 years clear, they've got that whole $10,000 benefit built back up again. So if God forbid they get a second diagnosis, they've got the benefit. And just so you know, anybody who's been diagnosed with cancer already is more likely to get diagnosed a second time than somebody who's never been diagnosed before. Now, I've had agents ask, well, why wouldn't they just wait 5 years and qualify for a new one with you or somebody else, Jim? And, it's a pretty simple answer. It's two things. A, one of the good things about having this is they're still paying the premium as they were at the younger age when they bought the policy. And most of our clients have some sort of budget, whether they're seniors and on a fixed income, or whether they're still working and only want to pay X amount for that insurance a month. That's important. But more importantly, I would tell you is that cancer and heart attack and stroke, these type of diseases that happen, they don't wait for our timelines, folks. So if your client wants to, basically roll the dice and hope that they don't get diagnosed or have a problem in that time, that's pretty scary for them. And so I would say it's much better to get some coverage, even if it's 25% or 50%, than have none. So, just something to think about as you're talking. And just so you know, rate-wise on cancer at 65 years old, the reoccurrence benefit for a $5,000 policy is only about $2.60 a month. So very affordable for your clients. Here's the other existing riders. We've got a hospital indemnity rider. As I showed you, we do have a standalone hospital indemnity, but if you're writing a cancer, heart attack, and stroke policy anyways, you can just add that rider right there instead of writing a separate policy. We have an ICU rider. We have a combo rider, which is hospital indemnity and ICU. And then we also have return and premium. I love this rider. Folks, for those clients who their objection, the reason why they may not buy from you is, what if I never get diagnosed with cancer? What if I never have a heart attack or stroke or need a heart transplant? This is where you talk about this rider. Because the way this rider works is if they die and have not had more in claims than we paid in if they have not had more in claims than they paid in premiums, we'll refund every penny. And yes, I did say they could have a claim. And as long as they paid more in premium, we'll refund the difference, right? So they cannot lose on this policy. Okay, so this is important to note. It's an at death return of premium. This is not a 3 or 5 years down the road, I changed my mind, I don't want the policy, give me all my money back. But at death, if they die and they paid more in premiums than we paid in claims, or if we haven't paid in claims, we'll refund the difference to the beneficiary, no questions asked. So it is a really nice option to offer to your clients. Now here's the new riders. First off, we've got Benefit Builder. Second off, we've got Radiation and Chemo. Then we've got Specified Disease and Critical Illness and Accident Indemnity. So we're going to go ahead and talk about these because they're newer for us, a little more in advance. So with Benefit Builder, first of all, I don't know if I've ever seen a rider like this on a cancer, heart attack, and stroke. I believe we're the only one that has this. But the way I would phrase this, if I was sitting down with a client, is it's like an inflation protection rider, right? So what your client can do is they can buy an additional $500 or $1,000 growth each policy year for up to 35 years. So let's say, like on your screen, they have a $20,000 cancer policy and they buy a $1,000 Benefit Builder. Well, that's going to grow every policy year. So after 10 years, that $20,000 policy is going to be worth $30,000 lump sum. At 20 years, $40,000, and so on. If it was a $500 benefit, obviously just cut that growth in half, but that $20,000 policy at 10 years would be worth $25,000. At 20 years, it'd be worth $30,000. So it's a really good rider. And the conversation I would have with our clients is, you know, is it reasonable to assume if you got diagnosed today that it would cost more for you than it would have 10 years ago? And most of our clients are going to say, absolutely. Everything costs more today than it did 10 years ago. Well, if that's their answer, then I would talk about this, because is it reasonable to assume if you get diagnosed in 10 years or 15 years that it costs more to fight than it would today? And their answer should be yes as well. And that's how you'd add this to Benefit Builder, add the Benefit Builder to the cancer, heart attack, and stroke. It's just an inflation protection product. Now, we've also added radiation and chemo. This is important for everybody, but especially for your clients that are going to be on Medicare Advantage, because they have that co-insurance clause for radiation and chemo. So as you see on your screen, we have 3 different levels of coverage. Prime is the base level, Advantage is the middle, and Supreme is the most. And it covers what you see on your screen: immunotherapy for up to 5 months a year, injected chemo, non-hormonal or hormonal oral chemo, and anti-nausea drugs, radiation. By the way, it even has up to 30 days of experimental treatment for cancer as long as it's NCI approved. So even for those of you who don't sell MA and your Medicare supplement agents, as you know, Medicare supplement does not cover any experimental anything, because if it's considered experimental, it's not covered by Medicare. So keep that in mind. That gives them some options, some freedom of choice that they may not have had if they didn't have a policy like this. And again, what we're trying to do is give them some peace of mind, some freedom of choice. Now here's a rider that I really like also. It's a lump sum specified disease rider in critical illness. So this works very similar to the cancer, heart attack, and stroke. So anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 in benefit, and you can sell it up to age 74, and it covers everything from ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease, if they go in a coma, end-stage renal, major organ transplant, MS, paralysis, loss of sight, hearing, or speech, or severe burns at 100%. It even covers Alzheimer's dementia at 50% of the benefit. So I know sometimes people, when there's a reduced benefit, people get a little disappointed. But guys, I'm going to tell you, having Alzheimer's dementia on here at all, even at a reduced benefit, is a huge win for us on this, because the diagnosis, unfortunately, for Alzheimer's dementia is happening at a pretty big clip right now. It's happening very often. So even at half a benefit, it's a great option. So this, just to give you an idea, again, I'm giving at age 65 rates, but at 65, a client with a $5,000 specified disease critical illness rider is probably less than whatever you're drinking in front of you if it's from Starbucks, right? Because it's only about $1.62 a month to add $5,000 for a specified disease. And again, that's a lump sum rider that covers all of this stuff. So really great option for our clients. And then finally, we have an accident indemnity rider. So I'm going to go through this a little bit, but again, it has 3 different options of coverage: Prime, Advantage, and Supreme, just like we did on the radiation chemo. And as you guys can see, it covers things like, for covered accidents, for things like fracturing a hip, eye injuries, lacerations, ER visits, urgent care visits, if they need x-rays, air ambulance, if they need crutches, all things like that are covered by the accident indemnity rider. So now on your screen is where the product's available. So this is how to read that. Anything in the darker blue is available with all of the riders. The lighter blue and the orange do not include the last 4 riders. They don't include the 4 new. Not the benefit builder, the radiation chemo, the specified disease, or the accident. The light blue are in our phase 2, so California, Indiana, and Vermont. We're adding those riders there soon. And the orange we're working on. So the 3 states the product's not available are Wyoming, Virginia, and New York. We're working on Wyoming. They had some language changes required by the DOI, so I'm hoping that we'll get that in there, and Virginia in the future. I don't expect us to be in New York in the future, though, unfortunately. So how do you do phone sales? With us, it's actually very simple. Worst case scenario, folks, it's 3 steps, and in most situations with this product, it's actually going to be 2. So step 1, you call your customer and you fill out the e-app. Makes sense? Simple. Step 2, you do the phone verification if it's required. And step 3, you submit the application. Now, on almost every case you sell, you are not going to need to do step 2. Because the only time we require a phone verification call on a policy like this is if any of the lump sum benefits are over $50,000. Now, I'm going to tell you guys that most of our clients sell those lump sum benefits anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000. Now, we do have some agents that sell over 50, but it's pretty rare. It's less than 1% of the business we're getting on this. So, again, 99.9% of you are going to have this in 2 steps. You call your customer and fill out the e-app, and you submit the business. So this is what our e-app looks like. You go into Agent View, which is our agent portal, and this is the home screen for your e-app. So if you've worked on some cases, done some quotes, submitted apps, as you see on the bottom, they will be there so you can pull them up. If you look on the far left where it says start a new quote, that's where you go if you're working with somebody brand new to do a quote or fill out an app. And then you move to the next screen, and this is where you're going to pick the product. As you can see on the screen in front of me, hypothetically, in this case, we picked Medicare. But if you look at the bottom, if you wanted to pick lump sum cancer or lump sum heart, you do it. And the great thing about our e-app is if you're doing multiple policies, you can do them all at the same time. So let's say you have a customer that you are selling Medicare supplement for. And then you're going to also sell them cancer, heart attack, and stroke. All you do is click Medicare supplement, as you see on your screen, and then click on cancer and click on heart. And you do it all at the same time. You don't have to finish one, submit it, and then go start from scratch and finish the other. So it's really easy. The only thing that you have to do if you're writing multiple policies is put in billing for each policy. That's the only thing you have to do that might have some redundancy. Now, the other thing I want to point out is this screen is also where you'd add a second applicant. So on this policy, you can write single, couple, single parent, or family. So if you're writing couple or family, applicant 2 would be added here, okay? And so let's say you put in Jane's information. Now you'd put in John's information as applicant 2. Really nice, easy to do. And this is the screen where you would pick your coverage. It's pretty straightforward. The great thing that I really like about e-apps is it's pretty hard to mess up, guys. So if you do this once or twice, I think you're really going to like our e-app. It walks you through it. It makes sure and checks that you've answered all the questions that you needed to answer before you can submit. And then finally, this is the review and accept. So you're going to get an effective date. You're going to put in their social. And then what I really, really, really like is, unlike a lot of carriers, if your client doesn't have to do a phone verification, like I said, their benefit is not over $50,000 in any individual lump sum. They don't have to do any phone call. They don't have to answer any email. All they do is pick a security question, a security answer, and a 4-digit PIN, and you hit submit. That's all they have to do. So they don't have to, go to the library to get on Yahoo. They don't have to ask their son or daughter if they don't have an email address, what their email is. It's super, super client friendly and easy to do. And again, no phone verification needed if those lump sum benefits on an individual basis, meaning they could total more than 50, but if cancer is 50, heart attack and stroke is 50, and the specified disease critical illness is 50, even if all those are 50, they don't need to do a phone verification call. So it's super easy sale. Now, when you do submit the app, you are going to get an email that looks very similar to what's on your screen right now, and your client's going to get an email. What I really like about this is this affirms the sale to your customer, right? So it makes them feel like they actually bought something tangible, not just something out of the air. Because, sometimes when people buy stuff over the phone, until they have something in their possession, they don't feel like they really committed to anything. So this affirms that commitment. Now, this is something that I really, really like. If you are out and don't want to carry your laptop with you, etc., just when you're going to the grocery store or to the gym, I have this loaded on my cell phone. This is our Express Quote program. You can load this to any smartphone or a tablet that has internet access. And what this does is it gives you the ability to quote our products on the go. So all you do is go online to cignaexpquote.com, and it will let you quote any product, including the ones that we talked about today. I can do a quote for cancer, heart attack, and stroke in roughly 30 seconds or less. So it's really handy as I'm out, as I'm at church, anything like that, as I'm talking to people about what I do for a living. Sometimes naturally that comes up, right? Hey, how much would this cost? And it's a great opportunity to give them a quick quote and then set up a meeting with them later. Now, at Cigna, we do care about your customers, so we've done a lot of stuff, obviously, especially with the pandemic. So just want to kind of call some of the things out we're doing. So we did partner with Buoy Health, so our MedSup customers can go online for free to assess their risk and symptoms of COVID-19. Every state has asked for us to extend grace periods for policies, so we have done that in accordance with the request from the state departments of insurance. We've actually also joined with New York Life. I know it's not on the screen, but to create the Brave of Heart Fund. What that's going to do is it's going to pay benefits to families whose healthcare workers, whose frontline healthcare workers lose their lives while fighting this pandemic. It's going to help surviving spouses and kids get what they need for that. So some really good things. At Cigna, we believe in more than just business. We believe in helping take care of our community. Also on Medicare Supplement, we've got Healthy Rewards, really nice discount program for your clients. It doesn't cost them anything. It just saves them money if they use it. And we've got Active and Fit, again, available for MedSup customers. Right now, $25 a month for a gym membership, and they can go to any Active and Fit location for that $25 a month. And then let's talk finally about some of the agent incentives we've got going on right now. So I'm going to actually start with Supplemental Health, which is the blue bottom right now. $25 an app in states that allow it. Once you hit 5 applications a month and have a minimum of premium of $30 a month. So to qualify, you have to sell at least 5. And the premium has to be at least $360 a year. Once you hit 5 apps, we're going to pay you $25 an app, period. So when you hit that 5, that's $125 an app. If you hit 10, that's $250, and so on. We do not cap the amount you can earn, and that resets every month. And then as you see above that, we've got some great incentives for MedSup, and those depend on state. If you have any questions about what's available for either the product you're selling or the state your clients live in, just go to Agent View. That's got all the full contest details and rules right there on Agent View. And then finally, unfortunately this year, I think almost every insurance carrier had to cancel their convention. We were supposed to be in Monaco this month, and unfortunately had to have good phone calls and tell agents we'd miss them. But we're really, really excited for next year. For those of you who have never been to Vancouver, my wife and I actually went for our anniversary several years ago. It's a beautiful city, as you see on your screen now. A lot of water there in Vancouver. It's a very artistic area. They've got the second largest Chinatown in North America. They've got Granville Island, which is a neat little area. It's not very far. It's a couple hours from Whistler, which is where, when they had the Olympics in Vancouver several years ago, they did most of the bobsledding and downhill skiing and stuff like that. So the way you qualify is $225,000 in production credits. So for any supplemental health product or final expense, you get 3-to-1. So you need about $75,000 net in those products. Medicare supplement, you get 1-to-1 credit, right? So we have a lot of agents every year that qualify just selling Medicare supplement. We have a lot of agents every year that qualify just selling supplemental health. And then we have a lot that qualify selling some of both. And I know I've said a lot, but keep in mind, unlike some other carriers, we do not cap the amount of agents who can qualify. So if we have 50 or 100 or 150 agents qualify, as long as they have enough production credits and are in good standing, we will invite them and a guest to join us on our convention. Now, I did say good standing, and on products like supplemental health, really what we're looking at is persistency. We don't want you to write a lot of business that sticks around for a month or two and then falls off. That doesn't do you or your clients any good, right? So we need good, persistent business, and for those agents, we reward them by bringing them on our trip. We have a great time. We don't throw you in rooms for 8 hours a day in business meetings. We have a great time on our convention. So would love to see as many of you there as possible, again, because we don't limit the numbers. So with that, guys, I know I've kind of rattled on for almost 40 minutes. Sorry, I really enjoy the product, especially our cancer, heart attack, and stroke product. But with that, I'm done with the main presentation. So if you do have questions, please type them in the question box.
Thanks, Jim. Really appreciate it. And like Jim said, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the question box or the chat box, and be happy to answer the questions for you. And again, the numbers that Jim mentioned to you about individuals getting, cancer, heart attack, and stroke, and also the effects of stroke as well too, can be a life-changing as they live the rest of their life as well too. So give us a call here at Senior Insurance Marketing. We'll be happy to get you contracted with Cigna. If you're already contracted with Cigna, we'll be happy to help you out with any apps, rates, brochures, or quotes, or help you explain the product in that. So Jim, I do not see any questions here. So I just want to thank everyone for attending the webinar today. And again, feel free to give us a call here at Senior Insurance Marketing at 877-800-3080. And we are here to help you grow your business. Take care. Thanks for attending, and have a great day.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jim.